Hello everyone, and welcome to another video. Now, if you enjoy being scared out of your wits, then this might be the game for you. This is Little Nightmares. It was released in 2017 and developed by Scariest Studios, and it's one of those games that stays with you long after you've finished playing it. Little Nightmares is available on most platforms, including PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. There is also a Switch version as well, which is what we're playing today. The game is also part of the general EA Play subscription. So if you'd rather play it without buying it first, then that can be done as well. Before we begin, I should point out that there is a sequel called Little Nightmares 2. We will be covering this one next year as part of our 2023 Revisited series. But if you haven't played the first game, or you skipped it like I did, then it's probably best that you do so before watching the second game's video. It won't make too much sense otherwise. You wake up in a dark and dank sewer, having somehow fallen through a trapdoor from the world above. At least that's what it seems like. The truth is far more sinister than just a simple fall. From this point onwards, you'll explore a series of interconnected mazes and levels, all while avoiding the many grotesque enemies that call this place home. What makes these creatures even more terrifying is the fact that they're all human. Well, mostly. They have all been mutated in some way or another due to their unhealthy obsession with food. Their distended stomachs and misshapen limbs only emphasize their inability to control themselves when they finally spot you. The thing that drew me to this game back in 2017 was its unique art style. Everything about the visuals stood out to me. The use of dark colors, the overall gloom and doom atmosphere, and the almost storybook-like presentation made for a very memorable experience. You know how some dreams are so bizarre and strange that they stick with you for days? Well, this is sort of like that. Just be prepared for nightmares. It is hard to describe the setting of Little Nightmares, because it doesn't really adhere to any kind of reality. It's not a dream, but it certainly isn't awake either. It's a twisted funhouse of sorts that keeps changing and shifting around you. And the longer you stay here, the more unsettling it becomes. At one point, you'll find yourself at a carnival where everything seems to be going wrong. Then later on, you'll visit a giant ship that may or may not be sailing towards certain doom. The Maiden's apartment is another unforgettable location. It's absolutely packed full of food. And it's here where the true extent of the enemy's obsession becomes clear. All of this might sound quite chaotic, but the gameplay itself is anything but. Most of the time, you'll need to sneak past enemies and avoid detection. If you're spotted, then it's usually game over, unless there's a very specific action you could have taken to escape, or maybe defeat them. Speaking of defeating enemies, this is another aspect of the game that requires some explanation. As Six, your character, you aren't exactly equipped to take on these humongous figures. Your only means of offense is a lighter that can stun some enemies for a short period of time. Stunned enemies will sometimes drop items that can help you progress further. Sometimes they don't. But other than that, your only option is to hide. And the problem with this is that it can become a little bit tedious after a while. There are only so many hiding spots and chests to hide in, and the same can be said for the enemy AI. It does change things up a little bit as you play through each level, but there is still a fair amount of repetition to be found. You'll get used to checking every single nook and cranny, especially when you realize that more often than not, this is the only way to proceed. That being said, it isn't all bad news. Some of the puzzles that you need to solve can be pretty fun, like moving crates around to create a makeshift zip line across a large gap. It's a shame there aren't more of these. The combat, such as it is fairly limited, but you will come across one or two situations where you can fight back. I don't want to spoil anything, so I won't say too much. But let's just say there's more than one way to skin a cat, metaphorically speaking, of course. What really sells the game is its excellent audio and visual presentation. From the ominous soundtrack to the creepy sound effects, you will jump countless times throughout your playthrough. I wouldn't recommend playing this one alone in the dark with headphones on, but if you like that kind of thing, then hey, go for it. I love the art style. Every area looks fantastic, and each new location feels fresh and exciting to explore. I think it's one of the most striking and memorable things about the game. The enemy designs are also great, although I do wish there had been a few more enemy types. Again, there is some variety here, but it would have been nice to have seen a few more unique foes. The Switch port runs at 60 frames per second, and it is fully playable on both handheld and docked mode. Now, visually, it doesn't look as good as it does on higher-end hardware, but it's still a very good-looking game nonetheless. Performance has been solid as well, although I did notice a few moments of slowdown in some of the busier areas. But this didn't happen too often, and it didn't last very long at all. As I mentioned earlier, the game is quite short. You can expect to complete it within a couple of hours. It's not necessarily a bad thing. The developers could have easily padded out the gameplay with more content, but they resisted the urge to do so. Instead, they gave us a tight and focused experience that gets straight to the point. The ending is both sad and thought-provoking, and it certainly left me with a lot of questions. I won't say anything more about it, but the final moments of the game are ones that will stick with me for a long time. If you want to play this game, then it's definitely worth purchasing. It's one of those titles that I can highly recommend, even with its flaws. It's also one of those games that I feel would benefit from being played without knowing anything about it. So, if you're here and you've not yet played Little Nightmares, then consider yourself lucky. All that's left to say is thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this one, leave a like, leave a dislike. If you didn't, let me know what you think of the game down below.